Okay, we're downloading A-Game's formula.
3, 2, 1.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hi everybody. How we doing? So we got a lot to talk about today. I hope everybody is doing really well. We got the fan back in motion, so why these necklaces don't want to sit straight? But anyway. I know y'all missed the fan. I missed the fan too. I be forgetting about the fan. But today I need it. So, y'all see the title, what Black women should have learned from the manosphere, or from being in the manosphere. In today's show, thank you, Mrs. S. Thank you so much, first of all, for kicking off the contributions, which I really, really appreciate. And I also appreciate the fact that it's my sisters. Because I'm really talking to y'all today, my Lioness sisters. So thank you so very much for showing the support. So it's been getting asked around the manosphere from the men to the men, what's next for the Black manosphere? What's next for Black men in the manosphere? You know, the manosphere has been in existence. The Black manosphere has been in existence, I want to say it's definitely been more than 10 years. Do we want to say 15? Has it been about 15? I have trouble with the timeline. But any other guys that have been here longer, Undani says about 15, okay. Sometimes I have trouble with the timeline. The manosphere has been around for quite some time, and it's gone through a lot of phases. A lot of different conversations have been had here among the men. It's been conversations not just surrounding relationships between Black men and Black women. That really took off just before Kevin Samuels took off. Thank you, Norman, and may my contribution be blessed 1,000-fold. I mean, Thank you. Because that's always been something that Black men talk about. Their relationship overall between themselves and Black women. Particularly romantically, but also just overall. Relationships with them and their mom, relationships with them and their daughters, all types of stuff. After Kevin Samuels sort of blew up, the conversation more or less turned towards the relationship between Black men and Black women romantically. And that evolved into a couple of different kinds of relationships. Or not relationships, but a couple of different kinds of conversations. It went into SYSBM. Well, that was before Kevin Samuels, but hopefully y'all get what I'm saying. And then that conversation sort of evolved into Passport Bros. And just looking for the better quality of women overall, regardless of the race of those women. So women have been making their way into the manosphere. The blow up happened, the super influx of a lot of women happened after Kevin Samuels blew up. But women have been coming to the manosphere prior to that. I was actually one of them. Okay? And women came for just about, I can break it down into about 4 different main reasons. Hyenas had 2 reasons, and Lionesses had about 2 reasons. The 2 reasons that the Hyenas had was to come and fight the men about the state of the women. To fight over what the men said they had observed out of Black women in general. To try to come defend it, to try to come fight against it, to try to come argue about it, to try to come control or try to change the narrative that Black men said and the narrative that they, and I don't even want to say it was a narrative. It was just the truth. And the other reason that Hyenas had coming here was to challenge the men on what they value in women and relationships. To try to persuade men to value Black women as they are, and to try to convince men that if the women were bad, it was the men's fault. And to absolve themselves in general of any type of accountability or any kind of responsibility for what they were doing. Thank you, Too Tall. And thank you, Teray. To try to convince men that either they were not masculine, or if they are masculine, it's because the men don't build, or the men don't have structure, or Black men aren't really men. So it's Black men's deficiency in being men that led to women's deficiency in being women. Again, another way to absolve themselves of any sort of responsibility or accountability for what they do and the decisions that they make. And I would wager that the Hyenas have gotten worse. They have not gotten better. They have dug their heels in, And they have doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on foolishness, on stupidity, on being lost, and purposely obstinate to everything that the black men were saying. Thank you so much, Norrin. The Lionesses came here for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons why the Lionesses showed up was to take note from the men and to gain direction from them about who they are as women versus who they should be as women. Do we understand that part? Lionesses came here for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons the Lionesses showed up was to take note from the men to gain direction about who they are as women versus who they should be as women. Okay? And one of the other main reasons that the Lionesses showed up was to become a better version, a better woman overall. And for those Lionesses that didn't have any men, to find men, but also to be a better woman for those men. Can we agree with that? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with my reasoning. Because I think that those were or are two main reasons. It might not cover every single thing, but I think that those are two good umbrella reasons. So the Hyenas and the Lionesses showed up. So what I don't want it to turn into is that only the hyenas show up to the manosphere. The hyenas might be more vocal, but the Lionesses are here. The Lionesses are here. They are present, whether they are content creators, whether they are silent watchers that's just taking note or not. Because there are Lionesses who already have husbands. There are women that show up to the manosphere that are straddling the fence. And when I say straddle the fence, I mean there are women who don't realize the amount of gynocentric programming that they actually have inside of them. Because the one thing that I really want to draw attention to is that a lioness, the difference between a lioness and a hyena. Let's go into the difference between a lioness and a hyena. Because when you just break it down to the biology, we're all the same. Women have the same biological nature. The same biological nature, which is where so much of the confusion comes in at. But that's really where the similarities begin, and that's really where they end. The true difference between a hyena and a lioness is, first of all, self-awareness. Lionesses are not perfect women. And when I say perfect women, I mean that there are still things that lionesses have to correct. Because we're lionesses in a corrupted environment that reinforces gynocentrism every day. Every single day. We're going to encounter it. We're going to have that programming reintroduced to us in almost every situation. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you've grown up in a Western society, if you grew up in America, you are a feminist by birth. You are a gynocrat at birth. But that doesn't mean you have to stay a gynocrat. You understand? Doesn't mean you have to stay. You're getting indoctrinated to a lost value system of which feminism, gynocentrism, and all of that type of stuff is intertwined completely. You're getting introduced to that at birth. Before you are able to even understand what's going on with you, let alone combat what's going on, you're just being indoctrinated into it. And the men are being indoctrinated into it as well. It just manifests differently for men. It just manifests differently for men. We'll start touching on the men a little bit. But this message is really about the women today. The true difference between a lioness and a hyena is self-awareness. Lionesses are self-aware, meaning we don't have our heads stuck up our butts so much that we don't see our own faults. And that we don't see the need to examine ourselves, re-examine ourselves, and then re-examine ourselves again. A lioness is in a constant state of self-evaluation and self-improvement. She's in a constant state of that. This is why I said those are the two reasons that lionesses really came to the manosphere. To take note from the men. Because lionesses intrinsically understand that order comes from men. We intrinsically understand that. And we seek it out. We seek out this order. And we're seeking out the order because we understand that there's some portion of us that's out of order. Because women are inherently and intrinsically chaotic. That's who we are. That's what we are. But a lioness does not allow that chaos to completely overtake her mind, completely overtake her life, and then she just leave it like that. Then she just leave it like that. Like, oh, well, my mom gave me a bunch of trauma. I got a bunch of indoctrination along these feminist, gynocentric, I got a house, a car, all that foolishness. Yeah, I may have heard all of those types of things growing up. The women around me taught me all of that stuff. But there's something inside of me that doesn't allow that to sit well. Something inside of a lioness that doesn't allow the indoctrination to sit well. It bothers our spirit. It bothers and agitates our feminine spirit. And the lionesses, don't be afraid in the chat to speak up if you agree with this. Another thing that lionesses came to the manosphere for was to be supported in the journey to becoming better women. And yes, I saw the question in the chat, can you be a lioness in training? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because lionesses are always in training anyway. Now, there's levels to it, but there's always a level of, there's always a room for improvement is how I say that. Thank you, Don Trey. Said, I'm witnessing more men in the manosphere like myself, no longer waiting for modern women to embrace femininity, but getting passports and courting women from other countries. Exactly. And this is what I'm talking about, because there's no stopping the train because it already left the station. No stopping the train because it already left the station. Black men, by and large, have come to the conclusion that black women in general are not worth waiting on. Nobody has time for black women to figure out how to stop fighting, how to stop spazzing out and being an idiot and being a gumball, to figure out something that your mama should have taught you, and if she didn't teach it to you, she failed you, and now you behind the 8 ball. So now we got to go through a whole process of the deprogramming. The first thing you got to do is accept the fact that you've been programmed. That's a struggle. Then if we can get you to accept the fact that you've been programmed, now we got to get you to a point where you don't accept the programming. Then that's a fight. Then if we could get you past that point, now you got to try to see value in yourself. Now you got to try to get over all of these obstacles and humps. And that journey, that work is work. That's not no lightweight work. That's not no easy work. That's not no cakewalk work. That's some work. That's some work for you. That is some work for you. I bear witness, and I'm sure that the lionesses within the sound of my voice, the lionesses in this chat, who live their lives by the 10 life values, and we gonna get to that, can testify. If we had a coming to the altar moment, this is what it would be. That the work of deprogramming, especially when you didn't think you had all that programming in you. Especially when you didn't think you had all that programming in you. But you realize that you did. And you do. And you got to dig it out. You got to dig all that stuff out of you. And get it out. And get it out for real. Thank you, Theo Watt. Thank you so much, sweetheart. And how you doing? So in the 90s, most of my male friends from uni went to Asia, and we married Asians. When we brought our wives to the U.S., American women said we didn't deserve them. Now those women are single in their 50s, nothing learned. Yet a lot of hyenas are simply not going to learn any lessons. This is why they're hyenas. I'm trying to get down to the real differences. And thank you once again, Theo, for that input. Elgene, how you doing, sis? I hope everything has been good with you. Long time no see. This is why hyenas are hyenas and lionesses are lionesses. Because it's not so much about perfection as it is the willingness and the dedication to do the work necessary to be a lioness. And there's always self-evaluation going on. I watch nature shows all the time. And I do like watching nature shows because I actually learn a lot about it. And I was watching one clip. And it was a clip about, I probably told this story before. It was a clip about the lionesses hunting. And this was a prolific group of lionesses whose hunting record was really pretty good. But they had a few outings that didn't end well for them. They were disjointed. They weren't communicating well as a hunting party. They were missing their marks. They were letting the prey get away from them. One lioness got hurt because they were just all disjointed as a group. So it was like 2 or 3 hunting excursions that back to back didn't go good. And they had cubs to feed. And they had an alpha lion to feed, like 2 alpha lions in that pride to feed. So you know what them lionesses did? They had went out on about 3 bad excursions, just bad. It just was not good. And them lionesses as animals, as 4-legged animals that we consider not as smart as us, not as astute as a human being. Them lionesses got together, and you know what they did? They started communing with each other. They reasserted their bond because they had fallen into chaos with one another, miscommunication with one another. So you know they did what cats do. They sat together and they started grooming each other. They started licking each other. They was grooming each other's cubs. They was cuddling with one another. They was communicating with one another. They started frolicking with one another. And this was something, they didn't want the males around. When the alpha male kind of came around to see what they was doing, they kind of chased them off a little bit. And they took like a whole day to do that with each other. And I'm telling you, that next hunting day, I'm telling you, they caught one of the biggest wildebeests out there. And I'm telling you, they brought that sucker down fast, too. They brought that sucker down. And they whole pride ate good. That pride ate good. Why did I tell that story? Because the lioness always, when she find herself not in order, always she come back to say, wait a minute, I'm not going to stay in disorder. We're going to find some order today. Why? Because not only is it for me, but my husband, my children, my family, my community, my household depend on me to have that order. They depended on me that even if there is a time where I'm not doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, they also depended on me to get back on track quick. Because the male lions was not pleased to come back from patrol hungry. They started nipping at them lionesses too. That's the other part. They started nipping at them. Like literally nipping at their heels and stuff. You know how they narrate. Been days. And it was herds out there. It wasn't like it was scarce food. This is why the male lions was nipping. Like, no. Because see, I'm not going to go out there and hunt too. You going to do this hunting. I just got off 2 days I've been patrolling. days to go around this whole territory. And I come back and it ain't no gazelle waiting, it ain't nothing. And I mean, it was friction. And the Lionesses had to do what? Figure it out. You know what the orders are. You know what you're supposed to be doing. So go do it. And whatever you got to do to get it straight, that's what you got to do to get it straight. We came to the Manosphere to get it straight. We came to the Manosphere to get it straight. Let me go on to a break, and then we're going to come back and cook some more, because we're really going to start talking about what these men are going through and what black women really need to do. If you're a lioness, what you really need to do. So after these messages, we'll be right back.
Thank you for joining the A-Game Zoom meeting. Juan, start us off with your financial projections. What is that? Wait, does he even know he's live?
Why are his pants so tight?
Oh, you just got the... Is he pop locking?
He does have moves. Go on.
Oh, the breakdance.
Ooh, I hope he doesn't split his tight pants.
Oh, go one. Go, it's your birthday. Go one, it's your birthday.
You better clap yourself like you work. In there dancing around like you crazy.
Okay, that was pretty good. Now that Juan has given us his unauthorized dance routine, does anyone else have a dance routine they want to do? Okay, well, let's get back to showing the world why A-Game is the #1 herbal solution in the world. However, I kind of want to know why his pants were so tight too. But let's get back to being on our A-Game.
That one always gets me. That one always gets me. I love it. I love having that A-Game commercial and see Juan doing his dance off. You know, if you notice, I always put Juan and Iron Man in their little dance off together. Because both of them are on their A-Game. They A-Game. They A-Game. They both on their A-Game, right? As lionesses, we have a job, and one of our main jobs is to make sure that the men in our life are on their A-game, because we understand that our lions have so much to do, so many things on their plate, and the last thing that they need is to be sluggish and not have to focus and not have the energy to do everything that they need to do. So the answer to that is to give your man A-game. And A-game really is the #1 solution for a man's overall health, because it does address his energy, his strength, his vitality, and his libido. So no matter what he's doing, how he has to attack the day and the things that he has to face in a day in, day out, he'll have the mental clarity, he'll have the energy, he'll have all of the focus that he really needs in order to do those things. Because as long as his health is together, that's one less thing that he really has to worry about. And if he's got a lioness that's helping him look out for that health, then he's in an even better position. So if you want to become part of the A-Game family, ladies, I know you want your men part of the A-Game family. All you got to do is hit the link at the top of the chat with agameherbal.com, and please don't forget the 10% discount using the code Kendra10, and you can have this box of awesomeness delivered to you ASAP. I want to not let these super chats pass me. I think I skipped one that I didn't mean to skip. You can't see me. Thank you so much. Said was on business travel in Chicago, thought of you and Gemini consultations. Be well. Thank you. I haven't done one of those in a while. And thank you. Think like the 1%. Love and support you. Make women feminine again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So one of the things that I was trying to say about the differences between why the women came to the manosphere, the difference between the hyena and the lioness, we got to switch our focus a little bit over to the men. Because we're at a point now where the men are leaving the community. They are looking for the best possible mates. They are looking for the best possible women. And they are no longer confining themselves to just the women that they grew up with. They're no longer confining themselves to just women like their moms, women like their sisters, women like their exes, women, just the women in the community. Especially since there is little to no accountability, little to no self-awareness, and little to no propensity for changing and figuring out from the women's side what the women need to be doing. Because long has there been and continues to be a contingent of simps that give these women enough validation for them to feel like they don't need to change nothing, and that men need to shut up and come back to the table and deal with it. Deal with whatever we serving at this table. How you doing, Miss C. Latimer? And thank you so much, sweetheart. Say hello, Lioness. Thank you for your teaching and guidance. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, AL. Say congrats on 75K. Thank you. I really appreciate everybody's support. Because it's the contingent of simps that's really giving the validation. And see, we didn't talked about this before. But I haven't touched on it in a while. Because the gynocracy stand on the shoulders of a bunch of simps. And the reason why I'm saying or pointing out simps to begin with is because we're not seeing a whole lot of change as rapidly as we could be seeing it from women, because there's still that block of simps. See, there's a contingent of black men that's like, hey, we done. We done with it. We not simping. We done left all of that foolishness. We are doing something else. We are going from just surviving and struggling to striving, to really thriving and hitting our stride as men. And we really don't have time. And we're really not going to waste any energy, because enough time has been wasted from the men who are our predecessors. Enough time has been wasted on women who don't have any value for us, that don't have any value for themselves, and we're just not going to be part of it no more. We're just not going to be part of the foolishness anymore. And you can't blame them. You understand what I mean? Can't blame them. The issue is, though, a man has to get to that point where he's saying, I can just get my passport and go. See, a young black man, 16 to 18 years old, ain't getting no passport going nowhere. You understand what I mean? That is really older, established men that are doing that. Thank you, Miss Lou Casey. How you doing, sweetheart? Says simps continue to reward bad behavior, and that is why many will not change their ways. Exactly. Exactly. And thank you, Dr. Michelle. See, a man who's a little bit older, because see, a young black man, 16 to 18, early 20s, he ain't really looking for a wife and all that stuff right now. For the vast majority. He not really looking for that. That's not really gonna be the majority of our men. He really, unless he go to the military or some other circumstances in his life, he really gonna be wherever he's at or wherever he intends to go in his life. So he's gonna have these stages in his life. Thank you, Judas Blues. He's gonna have to get himself together in his life. Whether he intends on being with a black woman or not, men have to go through those stages in their life from young man to more established. He understands what he's trying to do. He understands his vision. He understands his purpose. Those are the things that men do for them. They're not even really doing that for women. These are the things that the men have to do for themselves. Before a woman get anywhere in the picture, before he be trying to marry somebody, none of that, these are the things that men are going to do by and large, and they're going to do it for themselves because they have to. Because they got to do it for themselves. Right? Because regardless of where he finds a woman to build with, he gonna have himself built to whatever level he building to for himself. This don't got nothing to do with women while he's in that stage. Because men just go through that stage, finding out who they are, finding out who they want to be, finding out what's going on with them, how to value themselves, and how to build that value for themselves. So he's going to go through the stage of setting them values. That's the 10 life value system. Who is he spiritually? Who is he internally? He's going to be doing that. Who is he spiritually? This is part of setting what his value, well, not what his values, but what his vision is, his purpose in life. How he's dealing with his health. How he deal with his family situation. Whether that's his kinship right now or how he envisions his family situation to be when he's ready to build that. What is his appearance value gonna be? He might go through a stage where that's not so good, and then he realizes, you know what? I'm a better man than that. So I'm gonna do better than that. And then his dwelling, all of that, he's figuring out. Then he moves into the external things, because this is really the wheelhouse of men. Really where he gonna be able to demonstrate that masculinity. In his mobility and his ability to have that. His working knowledge of the world and how he's gonna maneuver within that. Who he gonna be maneuvering in this world? What kind of education level do he want to have? How is it gonna serve him? What kind of profession? What is he going to say, okay, this is what I give to the world? What is his leisure gonna look like? Is he gonna be one of these dudes that spend all his money at the club and all that stupid stuff? Or is he gonna be a dude that really even his leisure serves him well? And finally, the gathering of his wealth. The gathering of his wealth and how he dispenses that wealth. Financial wealth, the wealth of his spirit, the wealth of his value, the value of himself and what he has accumulated during his time so far in this world. So he gonna have a set value regardless where he gets these women. Because his value system don't have nothing to do with the women. The women are gonna be attracted because of his value system. But the issue that black men in this country are having is that before he get to that point, he gonna have to witness the foolishness of the women in the community. He gonna have to witness the foolishness and be a victim of it in some way, shape, or form of the women in his immediate culture, circumstance, family, community. Because when he growing up, how many of them is son husbands? That's being taken advantage of in a stage in his life where he can't even defend against that. Putting him in positions that he don't need to be in. And then he got to grow up and realize at 16, 17, 18, wait a minute. I got to break the mold. Thank you, Marcus. I got to break the mold. Because I know my mama didn't just put me in this position right here. No, she did not. Just breed me to be a simp. Just take my spine out of my body. Just take my whole little masculinity away from me before I get an opportunity to build on it. Thank you, Calvin. Being taken advantage of as a young man, dealing in romantic situations with these knuckleheads. What about the men who get caught up as young fathers? He never signed up for that. He never signed up for that. Now he caught up in a system with a chick that don't even like him. A woman that's looking to ruin him. A woman that's looking to take advantage of him. So he having to work through all of this foolishness. The foolishness of looking at these women nowadays and the level of debauchery that they are engaged in. Just like this hyena that walked into this restaurant just recently with her birthday suit on, just flounced in there. Who is her family? Who are the men in her family that's embarrassed by that? And she don't care. Do she got sons? I know she got a daddy somewhere. Do she got brothers? Do she got uncles? Do she got male friends? The men in her life that actually saw some value in her? What them men think? See how she represented or misrepresented them men? Not only misrepresented herself. Now some man that know her probably gotta hang his head somewhere and be like, yeah, man, ain't that your baby mama, man? You know, that kind of stuff. And these hyenas don't think about that. They have no concept of the misrepresentation and the disservice that they do of themselves and every man that has ever known them or thought good of them. Or vouched for them in any way. That's the difference between a lioness and a hyena. A lioness would never be caught. We would never, ever, ever do you understand that? A lioness would not be caught going somewhere and just publicly disgracing ourselves and everybody that's associated with us. And if a lioness ever enter into a situation where she got to be told, hey, what you doing? Tell me, lionesses, what do? We immediately, I'm sorry. I ain't mean to do that. I wasn't trying to do that. There's an immediate 180. And it don't never get to that level. Because we just don't let it do that. It's just not in us. It's just not in there. The correction come and we be feeling bad. Don't we, ladies? I do. I know the lionesses. We feel so bad. Like, oh man, I done messed up. Oh wow. What'd I do that for? I don't know what I was thinking. I'm tripping. Let me stop tripping. Thank you, Lou Casey. We be embarrassed. Oh man, I can't believe that. Thank you, 39 Dina. We be like, oh my goodness. Okay, but what I gotta do? And reevaluate my whole dang on life. Whole life flash before your eyes. Here's the thing. There are many brothers who's leaving black women behind because of the condition, because of the gynocentric, thank you, Marcus, because of the gynocentric way black women behave, because of the doubling down, because of the refusal to turn around. But here's the thing. There are other men who aren't leaving. Many brothers are going to leave black women behind. You can't blame them. I don't have no blame for them brothers. But there are some men that's real slow to that. They really want black women to do right. And the only black women, did I say thank you to Marcus? If not, thank you. The only black women willing to do right are the lionesses. We the only ones willing to do right. But if we want to maintain and keep those men and get those men who are willing to stay, who are willing to look for the diamond in the rough when it's time for him to build with a woman, when it's time for him to build his legacy, there's work that need to be done. Things that you need to do to keep these men, to get these men, to present yourself in a way to be chosen by these men. First thing you got to do is want to change your deprogramming. We're going to list them because it's three main things. You're going to have to want to change the programming. You're going to have to want to get out of the lost value system. You're going to have to want to add value to yourself. You're going to have to want that. And you're going to have to want that in the bottom of your soul. Else it ain't going to work. You're going to have to want to do that with every fiber of you. That's number one. You're going to have to want to. Number two, you're going to have to be unafraid to face the hard journey ahead. There will be deep internal changes needed. Number two, I'm going to repeat that. You're going to have to be unafraid to face the hard journey ahead of you. Because there will be deep internal changes ahead. Now, how deep they gonna be depends on what kind of upbringing you got. If you got a good head start on being a lioness, you might not have that far to go. But if you was behind the 8 ball, like so many of us, myself included, where you gotta dig yourself out of a hole first to even start at 0. We starting at negative 99. Got to dig all the way up to 0. Then go forward. You know it's bad when you got to dig to get to 0. When you got to work just to start at 0. Cause think of a number line. You know how number lines go. 0 is the center that divide between positive and negative numbers. Right? Remember number lines? We starting at negative 999. And got to dig to get to 0. 0 is baseline. So then all the negative numbers is the struggling. The fact that you coming from the negative number to the 0 is the strive. That's the strive. Coming from the 0, which is baseline, to the positive number is the thrive. That's how I want y'all to think about that. That's how I think about it anyway. I hope that makes sense to y'all. So many of us is in that situation. So you got to come from the negative to the 0, which is the baseline, and then come from the 0 to the positive, where you can start to thrive and actually see the good come out of the work. That's a lot of work. And it's going to be a lot of stumbling. It's going to be a lot of problems. You're going to experience some setbacks. But you cannot allow the setback to stop you. Setback can't stop you. You're going to have to understand everybody not coming along with this journey. Everybody's not going to like it. Everybody not going to rock with you, because we got folks in our lives that like our dysfunction. And they don't like it when you get the healing and all that kind of stuff. It is a difficult journey. But I want to tell the Lionesses right now, it is not an impossible journey. It is not. The journey's so hard. But it's not impossible. That's why our spiritual value is so important. Because that's the base. That's where we got to go back to when you waver and you fall. Because you're going to fall. Show as you stand, you're going to fall. And show as you fall, you got to stand back up. Because if you fall and you don't get back up, cash it in. Cash it in. Just stop. Because you ain't ready. Because you don't get back up. And keep moving forward, not backwards. Thank you, Miss C. Say you may have to call your big lioness in tears for encouragement, but keep pushing. It's going to be some tears, do you understand? Thank you, Miss C. And you are speaking the truth. It's going to be some, I have cried from crocodile snot. Ugly. Young guy ugly. Do you understand that ugly crying? You're just ugly. You're just ugly as you cry. Just ugly. You don't even want to look at yourself. Just ugly. Y'all know what it is. You're ugly today. not all. You study, got a pile of tissue around you. That crying, as long as you moving forward, that crying is a healing process. The rain come to wash away filth, not accumulate it. You understand that? The tears of a woman. Let me say something to my lionesses. The tears you cry by yourself, when you cry to the Most High, those are the tears that clean the heart. You understand me? Because you're going to find a lot of times you're going to be like, dang, I was really on that foolishness like that. It's going to be a lot of looking in the mirror and not liking what you see. But you can't stay there. You can't stay there. Because I looks right today in the mirror and don't like it. But I can't stay. You understand? Here's the next thing. Number three. You're going to have to set a new value system in order to create a better value for yourself. One moment. Yeah, you got to get it together. I'm too cute to be ugly crying today in this camera. You understand what I mean? Can't be ugly crying in the camera, y'all. But this is from the heart, you know? We gotta have heart to heart with our babies. And y'all my sister. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love my brothers. I love my sisters. And each of us may be at a different stage. We might be at a different point in our journeys. But this is the real sisterhood. You understand? Not that foolishness. We don't uphold each other in no foolishness. But we do uphold each other in number 3. Set new value system. That's the 10 life values, y'all. In order to create a better value for ourselves. Y'all know that. We don't have to deal in the lost value system. We don't. I know it's everywhere. I know it plagues you. But we are lionesses. Are we not? Are we not lionesses? Are we not lionesses today? Gotta do this one more time. Lionesses got the roar today in this chat room. Cause this is who we are. This ain't no fake fairy tale nothing. This is our real life, Our families are at stake. We at stake. Our children are at stake. The men who want to be with us, we got to give them something. We got to give them something positive. Thank you, Dontre. I hate even calling them hyenas. I believe the most appropriate term is hateful hippos. Okay. So I want to go over, I'm just going to retrace the 3 things. I'm not going to hold you. Okay? 3 things that lionesses have to be able to do in order to be lionesses, in order to stay lionesses, in order to become stronger lionesses, in order to raise lionesses, in order to support other lionesses. Do you understand? Right? To be able to support. Thank you, Sean. So refinement brings brilliance. Thank you. Number 1, to want to change the deprogramming. Number 2, unafraid to face the hard journey ahead, because there will be deep internal changes. And number 3, set a new value system in order to create better value for ourselves. That's it. That's it. That's what should be learned when we come to these spaces where the men are here. The men getting themselves together, fleshing things out with each other, coming to conclusions. You understand what I mean? I do remember that, C. Thank you, Cushion C. Thank you, there I said it, KD Tax. On target as usual. Thank you so much. Right? I love y'all. I love y'all. See, we not here to deal with hyenas. I'm talking to my lionesses. Because we not changing hyenas. Hyenas are hyenas because they don't want to change. That's why they're hyenas. You know what I mean? And we're lionesses because we do want that change. We do want that excellence in our lives. We do. We want that. We desire it. We strive for it. We do everything necessary to get it. Love my sisters, y'all. Y'all don't know. I really do. And I love my brothers too. I'm not trying to exclude y'all. Thank you, Corvus. Say, God bless you, Crimson. You're saving our sisters out here. Remember, sisters, we don't want or need Black women to be perfect. Yeah, that's one more thing I'm going to say before we go. Let your journey be your journey and always move forward in it. Don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Ain't that how the saying go? Right? Just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward all the time. Forward, forward, forward. Don't go back. Just keep going forward. Learn from mistakes. Pick yourself up. Go forward. Okay? Thank you, Miss Danica. How you doing, sweetheart? So just stopping through. Thank you, and thank you again, C. Latimer. So we love you. Thank you, holding and keeping us accountable. Thank you so much, so much. You know who else we holding accountable? We are holding Black Lives Matter accountable still. I am not letting it go because we are at 7,200 signatures. I only want to get, the next goal that I want to get to is 75. That'll be perfect. And then we're going to keep going beyond that. But let's cross one bridge as we get to it. Okay, thank everybody so much for signing the petition. If you signed it, if you shared it, if you contributed to it, I want to thank everybody for supporting that, because it's very important that we actually get this done and get this together and actually hold them accountable. So if you have not signed the petition yet and you want to, the mods have so graciously placed the link in the chat box, and it's also in the description box as well. So please go ahead, sign, share, contribute to it. And I want to thank everybody for their very awesome contributions today. I really thank each and every one of you for your super chats, for your cash apps, for your PayPal, for your likes, for your participation, and all of that. And last but not least, I want to thank my support team, without which we can never bring you any content that's worth you clicking on it. You know what I mean? So a really warm thank you to them as well. I am going to wrap this up, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.